Welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the roof plan. Just a heads up to my LZ students, you will need to do everything in this tutorial. For my CLC students in CAD 110, you only need to do through the roof creation itself. So I will tell you when to stop with what is required of you. So to get started here, we've got our floor plan. We're on level 1, and we're going to do a little administrative work here first. So first things first, we're going to rename our levels. So we're going to call this, all caps, floor plan. And level 2 is going to actually be our roof. So what I like to rename corresponding level and views. Yes, I do. And that's going to rename any sheets that I have, and we'll cover sheets at a later tutorial. So this is going to be roof plan. And yes, I do. So we're going to switch to roof plan, and we're going to see that now our house is gone. Well, it's not really gone. So your house may or may not show up depending on how your Revit is running. So if you scroll down under our main properties for our floor plan to underlay, where it says range base level, we're going to change none to floor plan and hit apply. And then what we see is our house is grayed out. So I can't select anything because I'm higher up. So remember, a floor plan is nothing more than a horizontal section view through a house or a structure. So we take a big knife, we swing it horizontally, we cut the wall at a certain height, and we pull the top half of the structure off. So what I'm doing is actually looking above this. So I'm working on a different plane. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my view elevation views here, my symbols, and I'm going to hide in view category, and they're all going to go away. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my roof. So if we look at our PDF of our Lake House Tutorial Final Sheet Set, we see we've got our roof plan here. And so the first thing we see is that we have a pitch of 612, and roof pitch on a house is rise over run. So if you think about the angle of a roof, for every X amount of inches it goes up, it's going to go over 1 foot. And that third line is going to describe the angle of the roof. So for example, a 12-12 pitch roof is a 45-degree angle. So we see down here that we've got a foot of overhang for our roof, and that's how far the roof sticks out past the house. For this project, I want to change that to 2 feet. So we're going to use 2 feet for our sample house here. So the other thing we notice is that we've got 4 angled faces here. It's noted by these pitch symbols and which way the roof flows down. And this is what we call a hip roof. There's also a gable roof, which basically this angled face does not exist, and the house has that triangular shaped wall at the end. And I'll show you what I mean by that when we get into Revit. Also, if you look at my presentation for roofs, that will help clear up what I'm talking about. So let's jump into it. So in our roof, in Revit, we're going to go to Roof, and we are going to do a couple things. And order here is very important. So most of the time, and I might be proven wrong here, but most of the time if we enter our overhang and then we tell Revit what we want to draw for our boundary line, in this case, since I have a rectangular house, I'm just going to draw a rectangle. If I had an L-shaped house, I would have to draw lines. And so I'm going to draw a rectangle, and notice how my roof offset has gone back to 0. I don't want that, so I'm going to set that back to 2 feet. So make sure we double check this before we draw. I'm going to pick the outside corner and the opposing outside corner, and there is my boundary line for my roof. So here I've got a big green check mark. I'm going to go ahead and finish edit mode with my check mark. And now I can see that I've got a couple of things going on. So I've got a rectangle here, and that's really kind of weird. So we're going to need to fix that. The other thing we need to do is I've got this hidden line drawn here to represent the boundary of my outside of my walls. So it says here outline, if I can scoot over, outline of first floor walls. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw that in really quick. That's a pretty easy thing to do. So I'm going to go to model line. I'm going to change my line style to hidden. If yours isn't, set it to hidden. And then I'm just going to draw a box, again, around the outside perimeter of my house. And it's gone. So let's do a couple things to get that fixed. First thing we're going to do, we're going to hit check mark. Sketch is empty. Interesting. Okay, let's put our rectangle back in. Try this again. And enter, check mark. Okay. So what I need to do first is I'm going to scroll down here under my floor plan properties and I'm going to turn my underlay off. You can turn that on and off as much as you'd like. So there's that. And then we notice that I've got two roofs going on here. That's interesting. Okay, so I deleted that. I'm not sure where that came from. But here I've got my outline of my first floor walls and I've still got this rectangle going on. So I was saying at the start of the video that a floor plan is nothing more than a horizontal section view. And so what we need to do is we need to change the range with which we see that. So if we go here to extents and we change our view range to be higher than what it is now. So what I've got now actually should work. You might not have this, so I would say set your numbers to this, okay, and hit OK. And if it doesn't fix it, which it probably shouldn't, I know why that's happening. This roof, let's go to our 3D view. This roof, so you notice here what I was saying about all four faces of my roof are angled, being a hip roof. This roof is very, very steep. This is a 9-pitch roof, and it's actually taller than my house walls. So we're going to pick the roof. We're going to scroll up to slope, and we're going to change this, and our floor plan tells us, our roof plan tells us this is a 612 pitch roof. So we're going to hit apply. And now we're going to go back to our roof plan, and we're going to see that we see our peak of our roof right here. So we see our ridge. So that is good. So I would say double check your view range like we said under extents. And if you use my numbers, you should be good. And if you're not getting this result with my numbers, keep bumping it up a little bit. What was happening with that rectangle before is it was cutting through the roof and taking part of it off. And we don't want that. So as long as we have a 612 roof that is a hip roof, my CLC students, you'll be done with this project at this point. You're just going to go ahead and turn your house in. Now, to talk real quick about the difference between a hip and a gable roof, if I pick my roof and edit my footprint, I can pick these two lines and uncheck define slope, and that little triangle is going to go away. Now what happens is I have a ridge that runs all the way across my house, and when I look at my 3D view, I can see that I have this situation where I need to extend my walls. You don't need to do this, but I'll show you how to do it really quickly. If we pick this and we attach top to the roof, now it gives me that triangle shape on the end of my house. The roof technically should come down, I would say about a foot, and that'll sit a little bit better, but we're not going to worry about that for now. So I'm going to undo that real quick, and we're going to get back to our roof plan. So CLC students, you guys are done at this point. You just need to submit your house in Canvas. Everybody else, my Lake Zurich students, you need to continue on. CLC students, if you want to, you're more than welcome to continue watching, but you don't have to do this work. So we're going to go to annotate. We're going to add a linear dimension between, an aligned dimension, excuse me, between this line and this line. And what we're going to do And notice I've got my scale here set to 1/4. What we're going to do is a couple things. We're going to pick this dimension, we're going to edit the dimension style, and we're going to change our text to be city blueprint. We're going to hit enter and apply, and if you look, now we've got this different text style that matches my example. What we're going to do is we're going to make a note here along with our dimension. So we're going to double click our dimension and we're going to give it a suffix, and we're going to say what we need to based off of our note here, which is 1 foot. In case of our house, it's 2 foot overhang typical, and that just means that everywhere has that. So we're going to say overhang typical. And there's my note, and notice that Revit lets me get this nice little, this little arc here when I grab my text. Grabbing it the wrong spot. If I grab my text by the grip here and I can move it over, I can move it under. So just kind of make it look nice. And then we need to add our roof pitch. That's called spot slope. So we're going to add 1 at each of the 4 places that I have mine. And then the rest is adding dimensions and leaders and notes. There is a model line right here, 6 feet off the edge of the roof, that says limit of trusses. There's another that says limit of full trusses. So you're just going to add lines and text to make that happen. This is just text here. And then this leader has got this curve to it, is actually just text as well. It's a curved leader text. So underneath text here, you'll find this, and we're going to change our, pardon my phone ringer, I thought I had that muted. We're going to change this to also be city blueprint. We're going to check the size once we get it made. So if I draw just kind of an arc here, and then my note is hip trusses at 16 inches on center. So I'm going to add in hip, maybe. inches OC, and that looks good. So then I can take this and I can drag this text box, move my text, and then if I want, because I've got this note kind of sitting here with another arrow, I can go text again, I can pick another curved arrow, I can put this in, line it up, and then just place it without putting any text in. If you don't want this to have the text interrupting the ridge, we can go ahead and drag that off. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to add all of the notes that I have here. So straight line arrow text here, the limit of truss note, and then you need the same thing on the top, so you can just copy that over or mirror it, this limit of trusses and the limit of full truss note down here. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to turn in this sheet to me with all of our notations on it. That's going to do it for this tutorial. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.